Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
Podcast below in the description.
Check out Gabby.com/ham, sleepnumber.com/ham, and geology.com/ham.
Geology.com/ham, 40% off. Get on it.
Good product. So I was thinking about the Niners from this perspective. June 2 is when we get to, presumably this week, maybe something happens with Julio. And I've been on the record as, I would say, against trading for Julio, not because I don't think Julio is a great player, but because I think the Niners draft capital should be used at other positions. I think they've got really good receivers that they can win with, and they've got to make sure that they're able to continue to evolve as a team over the next couple of years. But I think if I was going to play devil's advocate on that point, I would say this. The argument for Julio is stay aggressive. Not you traded a lot for Trey Lance, so you need to save your future draft capital. But what if you made the argument you traded a lot for Trey Lance, so you need to stay aggressive? That empires are built on aggressiveness, not on passivity, and that even though you can't just be blindly aggressive, you've got to go for it in the right spots, not just all spots. Wouldn't you argue that Kyle Shanahan, knowing Julio Jones as well as he knows him, you could easily make the case that's being aggressive in the right spot, not being aggressive in the wrong spot? And so I wonder if the Niners are looking at it that way. Like, we went all in on Trey. Let's keep pressing. We think we have an advantage. We were aggressive, and it worked. Let's keep pressing that aggressiveness. I was thinking about it from this perspective. If you're Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch today, and you just went really aggressive on Trey Lance, you traded what you traded, you did the month of evaluating everybody, you got him. Now he's in the building. You like him, right? Do you feel better or worse about the fact today that you were aggressive? I think today you're probably feeling a little emboldened, like we were aggressive, and we think to this point, it's still a long way to go. He's got to be a good player. But it went pretty well. Like, we feel good about what we just did. Let's do it again. I could see them feeling that way. I really could.
Well, the Rams are good. The Rams are a good example. They just keep putting their chips in the middle of the table, and I don't think they get enough credit for how successful they've been. Like, and someone tweeted at me, like, probably within the last 4 or 5 days about, like, should the Packers be disappointed that over the last 30 years they only got 2 rings? Like, well, they actually went to back-to-back Super Bowls with Favre, and I Googled, like, that game. Like, it was a barn burner. You know, Elway's historic. It was tied 24-24 in the fourth quarter. I bet if you just sat down with Holmgren and Favre to this day, they'd be like, yeah, we easily could have won that game, right? Rodgers has been to 5 NFC Championship games. Like, they've had a lot of success. My point is success, like what the Rams have done the last 4 years, is very, very successful. Tom Brady is the ultimate outlier. And maybe the Chiefs now are a team that, like, anything less than a Super Bowl berth is a disappointment. But I can't even say, like, they got to win every Super Bowl. Like, if they're going to Super Bowls, especially once you already have the one, like, part of the thing with the Bills, like, they never won the one. But if they just keep doing what they're doing, like, that's a success. The Niners, and part of being aggressive like the Rams, they always feel like we're just always all in on their team. And I think part of it is they're going after really good players. And for the most part, with the Niners, they've done the same. And I think Seattle's a good example. They've done the same. It doesn't mean it always works. But with that mindset, I don't think Belichick gets enough credit over his 20 years. I was thinking when you were talking about the, empires that are built on aggression, they had so many moments, throughout the 2000s that really built the culture to, like, take it to the next level in the 2000, I guess it would be 10s, where they signed Corey Dillon. Remember, he was like this malcontent with the Bengals. Mm-hmm. And he was awesome for him. Rodney Harrison, they went and got him. And then, like, when they pivoted to the team that the middle era that actually never won a championship, they traded for Randy Moss. They signed Wes Welker. They just got really, really aggressive. He was always Revis in the 2010s, always making moves that were just – people are like, he's just really conservative. Well, I'd say if you check out his history, he might trade a Logan Mankins or a Richard Seymour or Asante Samuel when he thought, like, yeah, I'm not going to pay him again. Right. I'm not going to give him a third contract. But it wasn't ever, I'm just kicking a good player to the curb, unless Chandler Jones actually came up when I was in Arizona, because we were talking about John Bones Jones. I think they knew when they were trading him he was a really good player. Just maybe they didn't feel comfortable, right, when he went in naked to the precinct. I think the conversation was he having. I had thought that he just didn't know where he was going, but someone was saying, and I think this is correct, he was freaking out.
Yeah, he was freaking out. He had like a drug overdose, right? Or what? Yeah, not an overdose, but like he was having an episode. And he went to the police station.
He was a bad trip.
Yeah,
synthetic weed or something. He went for help. He just didn't have any clothes on.
Right.
But it turns out, like, I think the Cardinals have been he's easily been, I'd say, their best player the last 5 years, right?
He's been fantastic.
I remember Joe Staley being like, Jesus, this guy's hard to block. I remember he had a quote after a game, and you just watch him. He's a dominant player. But, yeah, if you tell me they traded a 2 this upcoming year and like a future 3, just did something really aggressive, just what the Rams would do, no one's going to complain. Not a fucking soul.
No. On YouTube, KC says the biggest benefit at this point of trading for Julio is to keep him away from Seattle, LA, or Arizona. Not having a first or second next year would hurt, but you still got to re-sign Warner too. So as it relates to the division, Florio wrote that according to a source with knowledge of the dynamics, air quotes, the Rams are out. Which to me, when I read that, I think, well, okay, the Falcons are saying they want a first, and the Rams don't have a first until 2024.
Because you agree the Rams would gladly give next year's 2 for him. We wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah. Be like, yeah, we like Tutu Atwell and the $3 million or whatever we're paying Deshaun Jackson on game bonuses, but yes. And then I guess Diana Rossini on Sunday said that the Seahawks have talked about Julio and that Russell has talked to Julio. Now, again, like that, I think some of what's happening here is the Falcons are trying to create a market, create a little urgency. I still think they'd be hard-pressed to get a 1, but I don't buy the Rams.
That could be a Pete leak. Like, Russell said he talked to him. We're happy about it. You can play general manager too. Placating him.
Yeah, Russ had a great idea. None of us had thought of it.
Here's the thing, though. When I say Julio, and I was on a text chain with a couple guys in the NFL, and they're like, where do you think? And I'm like, well, I would never, ever discount the Rams or Seattle. Because this is up Pete's alley, right?
Yeah.
Those 2 teams, that mindset, they have. And that's where the Niners are still trying to figure out their lot and land. Like the Rams established it. I'd say Pete, historically, they would have no problem trading like a 2 and a 4 or whatever for Julio. Again, money. People are like, milk off the cap. That fucking does not matter. I'd cut 4 guys tomorrow. There are several veteran guys that coming off a long holiday weekend probably didn't sleep that well because their agent's like, just be prepared. Like, am I good? I don't know. Maybe the agent's lying like, you're good. He's like, I don't know. The guys get cut like that.
Well,
if you tell me that they got Lockett, Julio, and DK, that is pretty dominant. That to me, because Russell, I know how Russell looks with Seattle, is almost even scarier than the Rams. And we'd all agree the Rams would be scary with them. But those guys, those 2 humongous dudes and a little guy who's honestly he's like the most underrated player in the NFL that no one talks about, right? Tyler Lockett. All he does is score touchdowns.
It wasn't underrated on the guy Behaves DraftKings team last year.
If Seattle's at the 5-yard line, they're going to do this play action crosser, and Lockett's going to be wide open in the corner. Can anyone cover that play? I've seen him do it 15 times.
It's either that or the front pylon to what's the guy's name? Not Hokett. Hollister. Jacob Hollister's going to catch one. One-on-one. He'll have like 8 feet past the linebacker on the weak side of the play. One
catch to his helmet looked like David Tyree.
The problem for the Falcons, John, is they're trying to drum up all this action. Is like two of the most aggressive teams in the league, the Rams and the Seahawks, and then the Niners, who I'm not calling them one of the most aggressive teams in the league, but Kyle, who would love Julio, none of these teams have first-round picks. The Seahawks don't, and so if you're Atlanta, you don't want to trade them for a 2023 first or a 2024 first. Like you can't do that. Well, I think it kind of hurts their negotiating power.
I do feel confident saying this. If the Niners and Rams both had a 1 next year, I don't think the Niners would do that deal. I do think the Rams would. And I could not
first, yeah.
I would not criticize the Niners for not giving their first for a 30 guy who's going to be 33. But the Rams, without hesitation, would give the first. Even Seattle, I could see them being on the fence. Like our 2 best players beside Russell are 2 wide receivers. The Rams just do not care at all.
No.
And when you do read, they spent $6 billion on the stadium. $6 billion.
Remember the price kept going up because there was like all this torrential, there was like a really bad rain and it delayed the stadium build and all this stuff. And, Spanos had to make some hard decisions, John.
Do you think, how long do you think, when they do like, if you pay down the minimum payment, you'll have it paid off by X number of years, $1 a year in rent. When does that pay off the $6 billion? Do the math. I think it's a long time.
It'll be Spanos, the 800th, will be the owner of the team by then.
Yeah,
Whatever that
thanks,
guy's
Dean.
name is.
Appreciate you chipping in. Honestly, it's a genius move by Stan because you're like, there is no amount I could really charge him. The more I charge him, the bigger pain in the ass he is with me. So it's like, just give me $1 and just keep your
Charge
mouth
him
shut.
$1. I
Stay
get
away.
to do everything else that I want, and
Stay away from me.